Hi everyone, this is Balazs from RacingBrick. A lot of you have been asking about this one, don't worry, I didn't forget it. Today we are taking a look at the last remaining set from the June 2026 LEGO Technic wave, the 42231 Fast and Furious DOS Charger RT. Although if you are anything like me, you probably keep calling it DOMS Charger, and honestly that's where the first question already appears. Back in 2020, LEGO released the 42111 DOMS DOS Charger. Same car, almost the same scale, same Technic team, so why are we getting another one just 6 years later? We will try to answer that by the end of this review. I even had to buy another copy of the old set for a proper comparison because my original ones have spent the last 6 years being converted into various motorized experiments. We will put the two side by side later. The new box follows the 18 plus styling with a black background, just like the Nissan Skyline GTR. Personally, I'm still not convinced this really deserves the adult treatment, but we will get back to that. The back shows another view of the car, highlights some features, and includes a movie image. Let's open it up. The set has 1516 pieces, the price is 150 euros or 160 US dollars, and it is already available. For local prices, please check the link below. We get 12 numbered bags, 4 loose tires, the sticker sheet, and the manual. Since this set carries the 18 plus branding, the instructions begin with some background information about the Fast and Furious universe, Dominic Toretto, and the role of the Charger. Normally, the next pages include a few words from the designers, but this time it feels much more like a marketing presentation. Apparently, the intended audience is someone who can be amazed by terms like cardan shaft and differential. Yes, those things are indeed inside the model. What really made me smile though were the famous LEGO Technic nose bottles. Just look how incredibly Technic they are. The manual also mentions chrome interior details. By the end of the review, let me know how many chrome pieces you actually spotted inside the cabin. If you are interested in recolors or rare elements, I would recommend checking the inventory on Rebrickable. It's much easier to identify them there. Now let's start building. The build begins with the front suspension and steering rack. Nothing unusual here, these are well-proven Technic solutions. Next comes the V8 engine using the newer engine blocks, together with a few chain-driven gears at the front. The chassis grows quickly, the steering wheel is decorative only, while the famous cardan shaft runs through the center of the car. The rear axle brings the differential and suspension components, again using solutions we've already seen in many Technic cars. After adding the seat, some interior details and the hand-of-God steering knob at the rear, the rolling chassis is basically complete. Bodywork construction is straightforward, the A-pillars use the new shorter links in light bluish grey. The smaller flat mudguards appear here in black for the first time, which will probably become useful in future mocks, and the brick-built exhausts are also added. The rear section is built next with stickered taillights, and we also get one of the major new elements of the set, this quarter panel fairing. It nicely expands the ever-growing Technic toilet paper roll family. Inside the trunk you will find those famous nose bottles built from the recolor tube pieces first introduced in the Artemis SLS, along with another recolor used as the fire extinguisher. The front receives similar treatment with matching mudguards, a few system details, the hood with its large opening, and another recolored element, the 12-module soft axle in light bluish grey. Finally, we added the printed front panel fairings, stickered the grille, and now it is time to install what are probably my favorite parts of the entire set, the metallic silver rims originally introduced with the Creator Expert Ford Mustang. A nice detail is that they now use two different tire sizes. The front tires come from last year's Ford Bronco, while the wider rear tires are completely new. And here is our finished Charger. You may have noticed that the building section of this review was a bit shorter than usual. That's simply because there wasn't much to surprise me. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad build, it's just an extremely familiar one. Almost every major construction technique has appeared in previous Technic cars many times. We have suspension at the front and back with generous travel. We have hand-of-God steering with the knob at the rear this time. A rear differential driving the V8 engine that has some extra parts for the look. We get opening doors with the familiar locking mechanism seen on the RC Porsche GT4 e-Performance. And that's pretty much it. There are some decorative touches like the non-functional steering wheel and gear lever, the colorful bottles, but mechanically this is a fairly basic Technic car. The printed front accents look great, while everything else relies on stickers. So why I am not particularly impressed? Because LEGO presents this as an adult display model. According to the product page, it's a model kit for adults. According to the instructions, it's a true-to-life car replica. But from a building perspective, it doesn't really offer anything more challenging than the 2020 Charger, which carried a 10 plus age recommendation. Functionally, it actually does slightly less. The old model included the wheel stand that recreated the famous drag race scene from the movie. This one doesn't. Visually, yes, the new version is definitely more refined. That's 6 years of Technic evolution right there, focusing more on the look than the actual Technic functions. But this one still looks much more like an off-roader than a classic American muscle car, which makes me wonder, why did they remake the original Charger? Why not choose the lifted off-road Charger from Furious 7? That would actually justify the suspension travel, give us something visually different, and offer a much more unique Technic model. Instead, we get this look that, in my opinion, still isn't convincing enough as a display piece. If I wanted a LEGO muscle car on my shelf, well wait, I actually have one on my shelf, and that's a pretty good one. This is RacingBrick's custom Hemikuda. Okay, it's not a Charger, but the look and the proportions are dramatically better. And the same designer has also created an incredible custom Charger packed with internal detail that you can find on Rebrickable. To me, that's exactly what an adult-focused display model should look like. So, I'm left a little confused. If this were aimed primarily at younger builders, I would simply say it lacks some of the fun features of the previous version, although the improved appearance partly makes up for it. But as an 18 plus display model, the fairly simple build, familiar engineering and still questionable proportions make it difficult for me to understand exactly who this set is for. Price-wise, once inflation is taken into account, it lines up reasonably well with the 2020 version. You get more parts, more detail, several useful new elements and recolors. But if you already own the old one, I honestly don't see much reason to upgrade. Most of the interesting new parts will eventually appear on Pick-a-Brick or Bricklink anyway. And if you don't own the old version, I would honestly consider spending just a little more on this custom build instead. Now it is super easy to export the part list from Rebrickable and import it into Pick-a-Brick. I checked the parts cost and I could source almost everything for RacingBrick's Charger for around €180 using Pick-a-Brick alone and probably even less with some patience on Bricklink. Yes, it's not a Technic model, but if your goal is simply to own a great looking LEGO Charger, I think that's the better choice without a doubt. And if what you really want is Technic functionality, there are several cheaper Technic cars offering almost exactly the same mechanical experience or even more. So folks, that's my opinion. Do you agree, or do you think LEGO made the right decision revisiting Dom's Charger in this form? Let's talk about it in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe with notifications as more exciting LEGO videos are coming soon. See you next time, bye bye.